the virologists in the world, and the father of the PCR test, Gary Mullis, have written a book together saying that both myself and Peter don't know what is this AIDS, but we know one thing: the HIV virus does not cause AIDS. But what amount of treatment we give? Now Suresh was talking about the reliability of research, etc., etc. What we have now known is 80% of the research published in the distinguished 6 journals in the world are funded by the industry, and they cannot be replicated. When they replicated the funding from our godly donors, the results are only 5% positive, 80% negative. In short, if somebody funds you for research, which is happening in the West, they would expect a positive result. You can't give them a negative result. I'll give you one example. You will be surprised. A few months ago or a couple of years ago, you saw the paper saying that we have found the Godem particle, or which the editor calls as God particle. Actually, the scientist wrote Godem particle. Higgs is a physicist in Edinburgh. He said, what is this Godem particle? I can't understand. And he wrote an article. The editor said, I can publish this, but Godem doesn't look a good thing. Can I make it God? So he said, damn it, do what you like. Anyway, but these people said the God particle is found. And it is 99.99% sure. Do you know why they said that? Trillions of dollars have gone down that CERN reactor in France. Now they are due for next load of money coming. Now if they say we have not found anything with spending all your trillions of dollars, the funding won't come. So today research in the West is grant getting, paper writing, thickening your CV and getting a job and making money. In short, today whole of educational system in the West is for a wealthy career. The educational system of the East is for making a healthy mind. Do you know what a healthy mind is? Healthy mind is a mind which has enthusiasm to work and enthusiasm to be compassionate. I want every scientist to be compassionate. I was surprised 2 months ago, the International Association of Cancer meeting in the Tata Cancer Hospital. They wanted me to inaugurate. I told them, why? You know my views about cancer. They said, that's exactly why we are inviting. I said, the governor or chief minister must inaugurate, not an ordinary human being from a village like me. They said, no, we want an ordinary human being like you. So I went there and I thought they'll really hit me or kill me. Then I told them, you are the biggest fraud in science. Cancer is the biggest fraud in science. This exact sentence I told them. And who was in the audience? 500 American and other foreign delegates and 1,000 Indian cancerologists. And then I told them, 85% of your research has been found to be fraud. 50% of the cancer diagnosis is fraud. Half of the breast cancer diagnosis, what you call as ductal carcinoma in situ, is not cancer at all. And treating those women, they'll die within 5 years. Not treating them, they'll live for 100 years. Prostate cancer going on, checking, because we have a concept that we can catch cancer early. As somebody said, no, you can get diabetes with some project test. Future doesn't exist. Today quantum physics says there is no tomorrow. Tomorrow has to be born tomorrow. Tomorrow is not born yet. And how do you predict the future? And if you want to know, a physicist in Scotland has written an article in the British Medical Journal, Doctors Predicting the Unpredictable Future of Patients. And you must see, we don't teach this to students in the medical school and they don't understand that. What we should teach the medical students is, look, we don't know anything about this enigma called the human body. And it's for us to understand. The degree, MBBS or MD or DM or whatever you want, is only a license for you to learn. Not to stop at that stage and practice what is written in the book with a catheter or something and then make money. That's not science. Science is learning every day. And if you learn every day, you will quickly realize that we know nothing. We know very little. Now we thought about risk factors, we talk a lot of risk factors. This risk, that risk, hypertension, diabetes, blah, 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 etc., etc. The MRFIT study is the largest study, multiple risk factor intervention trial, which screened 500,000 Americans to get 100,000 Americans for the study, and half of them are intervened with and all the risks removed and the other half not. And now 5 years they said, okay, removing risks is good. 10 years later they said, yes, it's good, no. 15 years, now 25 years later, do you know the conclusion of the study published now? The MRFIT study has been a boondoggle. The money, $110 million spent, has been a waste. There are no risk factors as far as MR-FIT study is concerned. You can reduce and control all the risk factors, but cannot control the risk of precocious death. So, it is not that we should teach students, you reduce your cholesterol, you reduce your blood pressure, you reduce this, that. The JNC, the Joint National Committee on Hypertension, which has been meeting every 5 years to proclaim to the world what to do and what not to do, has been found that all of them are on the payroll of drug companies, the 8 of them. Not small amount, millions of dollars. And now the JNC says the normal blood pressure for a human being, adult, should be 159 systolic and 99 diastolic. They don't want 160 and 100. That's not like selling Bata shoes. 1,999 rupees, not 2,000 rupees. Because the minute you say psychological, that's, when you see 2,000, you don't want to buy that shoe. When you see 1,999, I want to buy that shoe. It's only 1,000. So 159. In 1993, I wrote a textbook on hypertension. I said human blood pressure must be around 160 and 100, because otherwise you don't get good blood supply to all the organs. People laughed at me, cursed me, cajoled me, it ridiculed me. Now the JNC comes and says that's the blood pressure that you need. Can you believe that? Now all this is because the Western science of biology, or the human biology, or what you call as physiology, has now been found to be flawed. In systems biology, that's the new one, there are two systems in this world, in this universe. One is called the open system, the other one is called the closed system. Now I am making it very simple for the lay people here. Open system is like your bucket of water which you want to heat for your bath. In the good old days, you used to dip a heater in that, right? The water becomes hot. But when you want to stop that, you have to remove the heater yourself. But the closed system is like your geyser today. You switch it on, you can go anywhere. When the water becomes a little hot, the thermostat will switch it off and it will come down. And when the water is cool, the thermostat switch it on, it will go. So any time of the day, you or your husband or your boyfriend can have a bath with the warm water. Did you understand that? So our system of Ayurveda, which is a very ancient system, probably the mother of most systems, because it's the Ayurveda idea of Charaka, which was taken by the army of Alexander the Great to Greece, where Hippocrates saw that and wrote his first treatise. Now in Ayurveda, it's a closed system. The thermostat is your immune system. And Ayurveda depends on swastasya swastha rakshita. Preserve the health of the well. Now who is well? You again don't have to go for a checkup, because checkup means you go to a doctor, you become a patient. Remember this? A very famous professor of medicine in America asked a brilliant student who became a resident on the first day. She asked, who is a patient? The student shot back. A man or a woman who sees a doctor becomes a patient. She was shocked. She said, is this what we taught you in the medical school? And he said, yes. And then she said, then one day he become a man or a woman again. The student said, rarely ever, comma, if ever, full stop. Which is absolutely true today. Now, studies after studies have shown that if you went for a checkup, you invariably become a patient, because we don't have a definition of normal in physiology. We have an average. I'll give you an example. What is the normal height of Indian male? They did a study, 1,000 Indian males, and it became Gaussian curve, mean plus 2 standard deviation, 5.4 inches plus minus 2 inches. So if you're between 5.2 inches, I am a little more than that, 5.5, and 5.6, you are supposed to be normal. Okay, now Amitabh Bachchan comes for a checkup, 6.2, so he is a patient, and the treatment is cut his leg, make him also 5.6. Jaya Bachchan comes for a checkup, 4.6, and now transplant a leg, she also becomes 5.6. This is what Suresh said, one size does not fit all. So our Western medicine is one size fits all, and there is no individualization. And today we don't even examine patients. We don't even examine patients. We examine records, their investigations. You have a head, you say egg, first a CAT scan, then a dog scan, then a PET scan, and then an MRI scan, an MRA scan. And then the doctor says, all these scans are normal, but doc, I have a headache. I don't know, that's not my field. You go to a psychiatrist. You go to a psychiatrist, he says, I don't know what this is. You go to a vascular surgeon, because the vessels may be the cause. The vascular surgeon says it's not that. You go to Krishnamurti Srinivas, it must be the nerve that is the cause. So God only knows what the patient does. He goes round in circles. So as long as you feel well, how do you know you feel well? Samadhatu, samagnischa, samadosha, malakriha, prasanna atma indriya mana, swastayevati. You get up in the morning and say, do I want to go to work today? And if the answer is yes, yes, enthusiasm to work. Do I want to be compassionate today? Yes. Then you are healthy. Then you say, do you sleep well, eat well, work well, and play well, and work very hard? Plus, don't hate nobody and love everybody. You are healthy. Did you understand that? So you don't have to go for a checkup. But if you are an alcoholic, if you are a smoker, please go for a checkup because you will dull your signals from your body. Now, if you don't have these two habits, when you feel unwell, you go, because in a closed system like the human body, the immune system, which is your inherent doctor, the doctor given to you by the creator, whoever he is, or if he is not there by nature, will tell you to control it most of the time. That's exactly what Ayurveda says. The Panchakarma, for example, if you study it so beautifully, it will give you a boost on your immune system, and you will have a bulletproof immune system. So even Ebola can't touch you. A good immune system, nobody can touch you. Today, we do everything to deplete our immune system. Everything. You will be surprised. You ask Keshavan, whatever you eat and drink has chemicals which are deadly. Deadly. The GMOs. And chemicals today, in a child born in America, you take the cord blood, there are 254 chemicals are found which are deadly. That has come from the mother to the child. You can imagine. Why don't we have cancer today? Because of that. We have all these things. Now, what is the treatment for the future is, we must keep our people well fed. There are 5 requirements for health in India, 5 requirements for the future, which the Prime Minister very well knows. Clean drinking water for the masses. Half of the hospital beds can be closed. Water-borne diseases fill 50% of the hospital beds. 2, 3 square meals a day, 3 square meals a day, uncontaminated by human and or animal excreta. Another 10% of the beds can be closed. If you tell people to not to take treatment for minor illness syndromes, you know which are the minor illness syndromes? Common things for which you go to the hospital and get all the investigations done. Common cold, feverish cold, there's a lot of difference between the two. Sore throat and flu-like illness. Do you know what the load is? In Europe on a winter day, 50 million people do not go to work because of feverish cold, which only requires warm water, rest and good food for 48 hours. If you went to the hospital, doctor gives you an antibiotic which will depress your immune system, because the antibiotic, when it goes into the mouth, kills millions of your germs in the gut, and they are the immune system's head office. So your immune system comes down, and for 1 week you say malaise. When you have fever, you take aspirin or whatever, metacin or what have you. The temperature goes up because the virus can be easily killed at a higher temperature. You lower it, the virus has an upper hand and you have a lower hand, and virus wins the war. So for 2 weeks you are knocked off. Then you say cough for another 2 months. All this is borrowed. Now you simply tell them just minor illness. Do you know the load of minor illness syndromes? A Canadian study showed when a doctor in society treats one myocardial infarction, one heart attack, he will have seen 36,000 minor illness syndromes. 36,000 minor illness syndromes. A study in Bristol and Cambridge showed that patients with heart attack who do not have any pain and they are okay at home are better off left at home. They don't die as much as taking them in that going van and then putting them in that so-called intensive coronary care, where a lot of gadgets are doing all that. This man is so anxious and his heart goes into fibrillation. These are studies and published in the prestigious journals, but medical students don't get to read that, because there is a lobby which suppresses all these things which are against business. But there is a small thing that is good for business, like HIV virus is the cause of AIDS, and the man gets a Nobel Prize. And do you know the origin? He wrote one paper in Nature, and what's the paper? Case report of the first young man, homosexual young man, who died in San Francisco General Hospital in 1981 September. It's a case report where they found later on that his bone marrow showed HIV virus. Of course, they didn't know HIV virus, it's called HTLV virus at that time. But if you took any germ with a man with immune system depression, he will have everything. From tuberculosis to common cold he will have. That doesn't mean that's the cause of AIDS. But only that, what is called association, only association. You simply say, this is the cause effect, and give him a Nobel Prize. Luc Montagnier gets a Nobel Prize because the anti-HIV group was becoming very powerful, that the people didn't want that to be suppressed. So they said, this man has discovered the HIV virus, so he's getting it. Ridiculous. I tell you, if you want to know these things, you must really go into it. I want the lay people and the press people to read this. There's a book called Inventing the AIDS Virus. If you see what all fraud we commit for money, you would get to know that. So we have now clean drinking water. A toilet for every house will take away another 10% of your load, because the shit-related diseases carry diseases in India. These are very important. Then, smokeless house. Cooking smoke from cow dung cake, from dry leaves and dry twigs emanates pure carbon monoxide. This is the commonest cause of lung cancer in women in the village. Poor women in the village, they are not labeled because they can't come to the 5-star hospital in Chennai, and they die unsung, unwept. Their children below the age of 5 get pneumonia, and their parents above the age of 80 get pneumonia. All because the cooking smoke comes into the house, and we have a conception that smoke comes into the house is good for health because it kills all the germs. No, a simple chula will get rid of it. Now you don't have to do tubectomy. All that you do is send every child to school and college up until she is 25 and prevent her from getting married before 25. Fertility has fallen by 50%. Between 16 and 20, fertility is 100%. 20 to 25 it is 50%, and above 50, 20 to 25 it is less. So you get all these things, and nothing more, nothing less. Food for everybody, and last but not the least, economic empowerment for the village women. The husband earns, comes home after drinking and eating anything he wants, and empty-handed. The child at home does not have food. The mother doesn't mind sleeping on empty stomach, but when the child sleeps on empty stomach, she feels so bad. That stress kills her with a heart attack. Actually, there are more heart attack in women, which is not being sort of scanned, because there is no women heart day in the village. If you had a women heart day, because these days are all for making money, you don't do that. Now you say, running for heart. Do you know what it is? You collect about 10,000 people in Chennai, and make a big fuss every day in the paper and all. 10,000 people are goaded to run. They have never ran before. So you don't have exercise tolerance. After running a little, you see, ஒரு free checkup. less. Other days it is 1,000 rupees, today is 500 rupees. He has become a bakra. Because he ends up with an angiogram, and 70 to 80% of the normal human beings, including children, have 2 to 3 vessel blocks. They are very healthy. But they are immediately labeled and told, you are sitting on a volcano. Any time it may burst. Now, you can't even go home and come back with, I can't assure you. Because they know if the bakra goes out, he takes second opinion, they won't come back. Second opinion for angina. There's a very nice study done in Harvard by my former chief, Leonard Loud. It's published in the JAMA in 1992, which says 600 patients were told that without bypass surgery they will die in no time. And they screened those patients and said,